Hello, my name is Dr. Shambles, and today we have another deck profile video, in this case, Decklist, or whatever you want to call it. And today we'll be talking about my boy Purple Cat. Yes, I do still play this deck from time to time. I did want to bring gameplay video on this deck, but the sim had a weird update, and now I just can't get into lobbies. I do have one replay with this Katakuri, with this the exact same deck list that you guys are seeing right now against a Lucy, and this deck did pretty fine actually. I still don't think this deck can compete with the meta. If I'm like, it's weird. The deck is in a weird place, but the deck is actually much better than I thought, which was a very pleasant surprise. And the deck still is, obviously, very fun to play. So today's video, I'll just be showing you guys the deck list that I created. There are some cards here that you guys are not seeing. Don't worry, I'll be talking about them while they're not here, or they could be here if you want, or what am I thinking of adding and reducing. I tested this deck list again. Since the update of this of the sim, this latest update, I really can't get into games. I don't know what's happening. It's kind of screwing up my ideas for videos, because if you missed me making videos of a category or in Trick, because I had 3 ideas for videos of a category. This will be the deck list video. The next video I wanted to showcase you guys the gameplay, which I cannot, so I'll just jump to the third idea, which is trying to predict what we'll have in terms of buffs in the starter deck. I know it's a bit too soon to be talking about that, but I'm just so excited. Yeah, I feel like this deck, this and Kuzan, by the way, sorry if you hear the motorcycle in the background, this deck and Kuzan have so much potential with the starter, so I kind of wanted to make 3 videos about Katakuri right now, but we'll stay with 2 because of the problems I'm having. So, let's get into the deck list, shall we? What are we playing? So we're playing our searchers, which are we're going to Glimmer the One Piece and Charlotte Pudding. We still want to have as much consistency as possible, obviously, because we still want to go first. So first turn, we do want to play our searchers, no matter how or what comes to our hand. If it's a searcher, we can play it, so we can find our 2 main characters to hand, which are the Pudding, the 7-cost Pudding, and the 8-cost Katakuri. These 2 are still are the bread and butter of the deck, and you still want to see them as fast as possible. So once you see once you reach 7 Dawn, which is in your 4th turn, you can just play Pudding and hopefully play Katakuri, and that's the setup that you really want. While we're trying to reach these 2, we are playing Pudding, Kid, and Sparrow for our 5 Dawn turn play. You can remove Kid for something that I will be talking about later in the video. Kid is just knight in case you don't see Sparrow. You can abuse Katakuri leader ability, and Kid will give you the Dawn back, which is an active Dawn. But obviously, we still prefer to see Sparrow on our 5 Dawn turn, because he's a cycler of our hand, which is a really good buff to our consistency. Not only that, his stats still are very good, which is a 5-cost 7k power card. Next is the Sanjian Pudding. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I wish I could like replace this with something else, but it's still like, it is in fact better than Kid, because if you don't find Sparrow and you fight Sanjian Pudding, you can play Sanjian Pudding, and then next turn you'll be at 7 Dawn and you play Pudding into Katakuri, and this will give you an active Dawn from the Pudding effect. You know, it still is very good, not only that, it's another target for Pudding, just like Sparrow. While Kid, it's not. The reason I'm playing 2 Kids is because you don't want to be playing 4 Sanjian Pudding, because playing 4 actually breaks your hand a little bit from time to time. This is something that I learned from experience. Like, I can't believe that the fact that I was playing 4 was actually clogging my hand so much. So yeah, you do want to see as many Sparrow as fast as possible. He only has some use, even if it is like, as soon as you drop him, you can always cycle your hand with your lead effect, but Sanjian Pudding does not have that immediate value. You do need to throw away 2 Dawn to get the active Dawn, and this does also happen, and this is why you need this at 3. Sanjay Pudding is in fact a very good target for the Pudding. You don't want to be playing Paraspero with the Pudding effect, you want to be playing either Sanjay Pudding or Katakuri. That's what you want to be doing. And so that's why we're playing at 3. We're not playing at 4 because it's already a bit too... It's just, you know, you need a fine line of bricks in your hand and non-bricks in your hand. And playing 3, I feel like it's the fine line there. And so yeah, I'm playing 3 as it is. Then, this is for our 5 down turn. Then let's go to our 7 down. Obviously, you want to be playing Pudding, but I'm playing 3 Charlotte Lilling just in case. I do want to remove it, like take it down to 2. I actually don't want to remove it from the deck. It's actually a pretty nice card. How do I say this? You cannot play this, you cannot search this. She's only rocks pirates, as you guys can see there. But the fact that you're cycling a card in your hand, which helps you get rid of the immense bricks that you play, and also does give you a Dawn, it's actually good. Not only that, when she gets KO'd, you actually go -1 Dawn, which is not a problem for Katakuri, and you get the life back. So she's actually a pretty good body. I just don't know yet if we should play it at 3 or at 2. At 3 is nice because for now I'm playing it at 3 because, well, you cannot search it, you know, and so we kind of, if we can, but again, I don't know. I'm very indecisive in this. Like, you cannot search it, so I'm playing this at 3 because it's a nice body to play if you don't, like, right on the 7 down turn if you don't see Pudding some way somehow. But obviously you would like to reduce this to 2 because it's not something that you actually want to see. It's Pudding. But yeah, so for now it's at 3. We'll see along the way. For now it's this. Then our late game is Lilling. This Lilling still is very good. It is very good, especially against the NL. NL does not have that much of late game. Actually, does not have late game. His late game is actually his mid game, which is his NLs. And so this Lilling helps us making pressure onto the NL matchup. And obviously, if it helps into the NL matchup, it helps into every other matchup. So yeah, we do still like Lilling. I'm playing at 3 because we do want to play it as fast as possible. She's a very nice late game card, and so I'm playing at 3. Next, let's go to our 2Ks, which is Strusen, Uzohashi, and Charlotte Pudding. Strusen and Uzohashi to help you close the game, to rest your opponent's blockers. And then you have Charlotte Pudding, which is a blocker, which is nice. A 2K blocker, which is even nicer. And then on play, if you have less Dawn than your opponent, she ramps you 1 rested Dawn, which is really good. You don't usually need right now, by the way. This deck no longer has such problem in going down on Dawn and recovering those Dawns, but again, it still is a nice deck to have. If for some reason you're down on like 7 Dawn and you don't want to be playing Pudding into Katakuri, you could actually play Katakuri, Kid Katakuri, replace it with a 8 cost Katakuri hopefully, and then you still have 5 Dawn, so you can use 4 Dawn to play the Charlotte Pudding, which will ramp you another Dawn in case you went down too much, and is a blocker. Is also the reason why I'm playing this and not Anana. I'll talk more in detail when I show you guys the cards that are not included, is because Anana in this current meta I believe is so easy to deal with that it's not really worth playing. I know she's a 1 cost, but again, in the current meta, Anana makes almost no pressure, if any pressure at all, so I prefer having Pudding in case I play a another, if I need to play another blocker. At least she makes some pressure because she's a 4 cost 4K. It's not that hard to deal with, obviously, but again, she does have the advantages of being a 2K. This is also one of the reasons I'm playing Kid and not Anana, because it's an extra bigger body that is harder to deal with. So yeah. And lastly, it's the tech cards that we have here, the extra tech cards, which is Katakuri for obvious reasons. He can replace himself for 2 costs into an 8 cost, so he has extra value. He helps you combo even more. The reason I'm not playing 4, and the reason I actually thought about reducing it to 2, right now I'm playing it at 3, is just because of the NL matchup. NL only has 6 Dawns, so this becomes pretty useless, but again, against every single other matchup, this has insane value, and so we're gonna stay at that 3. Next is the when 2 men are fighting. The last thing I need is some Alpha assistance. Sorry, long ass name. This event still is good because it helps you actually save the game. People cannot end the game because all of a sudden you get a 1k from your lead effect plus 5k from this event, which is a 6k in total, which can help you actually save your game to then you end the game on your own turn. So yeah, it's pretty nice and it's searchable. That's why we're only playing 2. The other tech that we're only playing 2 of is Slow Beam Sword. This is extremely needed in this meta. It's always been needed. Like, I've been playing this card a lot. Every single time I play Katakuri, I need to have this card because we need help into our defense. Our deck does focus a little bit more on defense, and this just helps a lot, especially in the current meta. Again, I'm gonna bring NL, but another deck that can serve you as example is the Sky Ascent Luffy, Calgara as well. Pretty much bodies that can spam matchups that can spam bodies, or in case of NL, bodies that cannot be removed. So this helps slowing them down just enough for you to hopefully come back with your combos. That is pretty much. Now let's go into the not included cards, which are the cards that are currently not on the deck, but some of these either are not required at all. I don't see the value in them in the current meta, or I am thinking about adding them. First and foremost, I've talked already about Anana. Anana, unfortunately, I don't think she can get value in this meta. I prefer leaving the Dawn up. Usually when you play Anana is when you have an extra Dawn, like with Perospero effect or with a Sanjin Pudding effect, whatever, and you play Anana to have an extra blocker. But the current meta can deal with her so easily that I prefer leaving that Dawn up for the events that I talked about, rather than playing her. She's too easy to deal with, so she doesn't really place any threat. So yeah, that's why she's not on the list, and I'm not really thinking about adding her to the deck, because right now we are actually playing 12 2Ks, which I think is very good in the deck. Usually you used to play 8 to 10 2Ks. So the fact that we're playing 12Ks also helps with the fact that we no longer need to play so much Anana. So yeah, that's it. Next is Shallow Pudding. She used to be very good to help us have an extra body that we can play early to keep our Dawn healthy with our leader effects. Also, she could end up swinging with 5k again because of Perospero, Sanjin Pudding. You could have an extra active Dawn thanks to those effects and attach to Pudding and swing an extra 5, which would be extra pressure. But again, we don't really have such problem with Dawn anymore. At least I didn't feel that for the testing I did, and so I decided to not play this Pudding. And also, we don't really need its aggression, its extra aggression with attaching 1 Dawn, because the Pudding that we're playing, the 7-cost Pudding, helps swarming the board, and so that's more than perfect pressure. Not only that, again, that 7-cost Pudding draws us 2 cards and plays another body, so yeah, I don't feel... and we play 12 2Ks again, that's another reason I no longer need this Pudding. We have good enough counter, we have good enough Dawn maintenance, and we have good enough pressure on our board. So yeah. Now, on to our Charlotte Oven. This is a card I'm actually thinking about adding because you could potentially use this into the purple NL. This would KO at original 3 costs or less. Not only that, it does ramp you down. Not only that, it is a 5k body, so you can eventually swing with this. And this goes by the Vari of NL, which bumps the cost of his bodies. And so this is a nice deck, and I would replace this by the Blocker Kid if I wanted to. For now, I'm keeping Kid. I don't know. Again, I feel like the deck goes very defensively, and so the Kid I feel like being an extra defense is very good. But Oven does have its use, so I wouldn't mind replacing two of the Kids, or even maybe one of the 7-cost Linling into Oven just to have it. I don't know. But for now, he's not on the deck. The deck works pretty fine without him, so I'm just gonna leave him be. And by the way, the effect is nice against NL, yes, but it doesn't really make that much a difference for me to actually include it. That's also another argument into it. Charlotte Smoothie is a card that I don't feel like you need it. I prefer... You can play this instead of the 7-cost Charlotte Linling, yes. This would help you play something onto the field, but I feel like NL is so, again, I keep bringing NL because he is in fact the best deck in the format, that this, like, this, if you go into NL, this loses its value. You go against anything else, this has some value, but not that much value. I feel like Liling giving you a life and drawing you is better than Smoothie. So I think overall Liling is better than Smoothie, so Smoothie is not in the deck. That's it. Liling. Liling is a card that I really wanted to add, actually. I love this card, by the way. I always want to try and add it, but in this current meta, I don't think it's that good. Usually this Liling is good if you wanna trying to drag the game a little bit more, so you have more time to come back from the game, or to finish game, or set up the game perfectly or optimally. But I feel in this current meta, Liling does not actually remove that much, and you know, you're throwing away a Dawn, throwing away a card in hand to add 1 life, and this does not have the rush from the 10 cost Liling, so I prefer the 10 cost Liling. She's overall better, I believe, than this in the current meta. In the future, maybe this Liling comes back there. I think it was in AB03 or PRB02. PRB02 meta, yeah. This Liling was actually very good, better than the 10 cost Liling in my opinion, and so I added. But right now I feel like it's the other way around. The 10 cost Rush Liling is better than this one, so you know, she stays out of the deck for those reasons. It's just better for, it's just not as good for this meta. And then is all of the removal events. I'm not playing the removal events simply because every single deck right now has protection, or you're spending so many resources, spending 5 Dawn, 6 Dawn, 6 Dawn, plus more Dawn because you need to lead effect with this one, to just remove 1 to 2 mid-range bodies, or 1 maybe late game body. I don't know, even 8 cost is not that good. You know, I believe in this meta. Again, Purple NL simply cannot be removal, so this would just be bricks. Against Nami, you don't really get that much value into removing an 8 cost or less, you know. So yeah, I think the only one that would have value would be this one, Hakai, but even though I don't see the value in this, or I think it's just better all around to swarm the board and making pressure with our swings than to use one of the events, you know. So that's why they are not here in the deck list. So yeah, that was it. This was the deck list. Do I think this is valuable? Actually, yes. One of the reasons I think this is valuable, sorry, is because 2 reasons. 1, and the most important, people don't actually know how to play against this deck. People forget this deck exists, and so they are not used to seeing the new decks, which are these two cards, which is Liling and Pudding. They're not used to seeing you play Noro Beam Sword or Soul Beam Sword, sorry, or the Liling. They don't know what to expect. They don't know how you updated the deck for this meta, and so you can catch them off guard a lot because you're doing your combos and you already know how they play on the other side, and they don't know how you play, so they cannot predict your plays, they cannot adapt to your plays as well. And the second reason I believe this deck is viable is simply because the deck is actually not that bad. The deck is actually somewhat consistent. I'm not gonna say consistent, actually consistent. You still have some hands that are not that good, but it is somewhat consistent and it is actually going in a good direction. And I hope the starter deck just pushes this deck into the meta, even if it doesn't need to be the best deck, obviously. I don't even want Katakuri to be a best deck, because that would make his cards expensive, and there are some cards here I don't have. I don't have the 4th Pudding, and I don't have Liling or Pudding, by the way. This is just a deck list I'm playing in the sim. And so I'm trying to get those, but I hope to get before the starter comes out. And if you play some of these, I don't know what you're gonna play, obviously, once they come. I wouldn't want him to be top deck, simply because I want people to have fun with this deck. And I don't really like playing the best deck in the format. Currently, I'm playing Purple NL, which is the best, in my opinion it is, and I think everybody's opinion, it definitely is the best deck in the format. I think it's fun to have a good deck like tier A, because it shows that if you win, it is somewhat your skill and not so much the deck. And you know, it kind of goes under the radar, like people don't this actually maybe goes into peer pressure a little bit. People don't mind going against you because you're not the top deck. While, for example, Proper NL, I already see people like sighing or getting frustrated because it's NL on the other side. Again, you know, they get tired of playing against NL, so yeah. But NL, I was already gonna build it as before. People thought that NL was going to be one of the worst decks by the first support that it got, and I just loved the support and decided to make it anyways, and it just ended up being the best deck. But yeah, I still hope Katakuri comes back, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like, subscribe, comment what you think of the deck, comment what you think of the video. Do you guys agree with this? What would you change? I already told you some things that you could change, but yeah, it is the fun deck. It is always a fun deck, so I hope this, I really love this deck. I don't know what to tell you. So yeah, bye bye.